Alberto Alpo Martinez was a name whispered in the streets, a name that carried with it a sense of both fear and respect. In the underbelly of urban America, his reputation was legendary, a figure who seemed larger than life itself, a figure both revered and reviled. To some, he was a hero who had beaten the odds, a man who had risen from nothing to command an empire. To others, he was a villain, a symbol of everything that was wrong with society. Born in Harlem, New York in 1966, he rose from humble beginnings to become a notorious drug lord in the 1980s. Harlem, a neighborhood rich in culture and history, was also a place of struggle and hardship. It was in these streets that Alpo learned the harsh realities of life, where he honed his street smarts and developed the ruthless ambition that would later define his career. His life was a tapestry of ambition, ruthlessness, and ultimately, betrayal. Each thread in this tapestry represented a different aspect of his complex personality. Ambition drove him to seek power and wealth. Ruthlessness allowed him to eliminate his rivals, and betrayal was both his weapon and his downfall. From the bustling streets of Harlem to the power corridors of Washington, D.C., Alpo's influence cast a long shadow. His reach extended far beyond the neighborhoods he controlled. He had connections in high places, and his operations were sophisticated and far-reaching. The corridors of power were not immune to his influence, and corruption was a tool he wielded with skill. The 1980s saw the crack epidemic explode across the nation, leaving devastation in its wake. This was a time of great turmoil and suffering, as communities were torn apart by addiction and violence. Alpo capitalized on this chaos, turning it into an opportunity to expand his empire. He was a master of exploiting the weaknesses of others, and the crack epidemic provided him with the perfect environment to thrive. Alpo navigated this treacherous landscape with cunning and brutality, amassing wealth and power. He was not just a street thug, he was a shrewd businessman who understood the intricacies of the drug trade. His empire was built on a foundation of fear and respect, and he ruled with an iron fist. Those who crossed him paid the ultimate price, and his reputation for violence was well earned. His life was marked by more than just illicit success. It was riddled with violence and betrayal. Friends turned into enemies and alliances were shattered in the blink of an eye. Trust was a rare commodity in Alpo's world, and betrayal was a constant threat. The streets ran red with the blood of those who dared to challenge him, and his name became synonymous with treachery. He built a drug empire that stretched from New York City to Washington, D.C., amassing a fortune and leaving a trail of blood. His operations were vast and complex, involving a network of dealers, enforcers, and corrupt officials. The money flowed like a river, and with it came power and influence. But this success came at a high cost, and the trail of blood he left behind was a testament to the price of his ambition. Yet, for all his power, Alpo's empire was built on a foundation of sand, destined to crumble. The very traits that had brought him success, his ambition, ruthlessness, and cunning, were also his undoing. The empire he had built was fragile, held together by fear and corruption. It was only a matter of time before it all came crashing down, and when it did, the fall was swift and brutal. The story of Alpo Martinez is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the destructive power of greed and ambition. It is a story that serves as a warning to those who seek power at any cost, a reminder that the pursuit of wealth and influence can lead to one's downfall. Alpo's life was a testament to the dangers of unchecked ambition, and his legacy is a sobering reminder of the price of power. In the end, Alpo's life of crime caught up with him. He was arrested and faced the consequences of his actions. The empire he had built crumbled, and the man who had once been feared and respected was reduced to a cautionary tale. His story is a reminder that no matter how powerful one may become, the consequences of one's actions are inescapable. Alpo Martinez's legacy is a shattered one, a reflection of a life lived in the shadows. His name will forever be associated with violence, betrayal, and the destructive power of ambition. But it is also a story of a man who rose from nothing to command an empire, a testament to the complexities of human nature and the thin line between hero and villain. As the sun sets over the city skyline, the story of Alpo Martinez comes to an end. It is a story that will be remembered for generations, a tale of ambition, power, and the inevitable consequences of a life lived on the edge. The name Alpo Martinez will forever be etched in the annals of history, a reminder of the dark side of the American dream. Alpo's journey began on the unforgiving streets of Harlem, where survival often meant defying the odds. Growing up amidst poverty, he quickly learned the art of the hustle. By his teens, Alpo was already involved in the drug trade, starting small but quickly moving up the ranks. He possessed a natural charisma and an uncanny business acumen. The crack epidemic of the 1980s proved to be Alpo's opportunity. He recognized the potential of this potent drug, capitalizing on the burgeoning demand. His network expanded rapidly, stretching from Harlem to Washington, D.C. Alpo's rise was meteoric, fueled by ambition and a willingness to use violence. His story, however, was far from a tale of rags to riches. It was a descent into a world of violence and betrayal. Washington, D.C. in the mid-1980s was a city in the throes of the crack epidemic. Alpo Martinez stepped into this volatile landscape, seeking to expand his drug empire. With his charisma and ruthless ambition, he quickly established himself as a major player. Alpo's arrival in D.C. was marked by strategic alliances and brutal displays of power. He built a strong network, aligning with local crews and securing distribution channels. He wasn't afraid to use violence to eliminate competition. His reign in D.C. was characterized by lavish excess and a constant shadow of violence. Money flowed freely, fueling a lifestyle of luxury cars, designer clothes, and extravagant parties. Yet Alpo remained haunted by the threat of rivals and law enforcement. His empire, built on paranoia and violence, was destined to crumble. At the heart of Alpo Martinez's rise and fall lies a complex relationship with his close friend and enforcer, Rich Porter. Their partnership, forged in Harlem streets, fueled their ascent in the drug trade. However, their bond would eventually crumble under the weight of suspicion and betrayal. Rich Porter played a pivotal role in Alpo's expansion and success. Together they formed a formidable duo, their complementary skills propelling their enterprise. The tragic demise of Rich Porter, allegedly orchestrated by Alpo, marked a turning point. It solidified Alpo's reputation for ruthlessness and set in motion events leading to his downfall. Alpo Martinez's reign was marked by extravagant wealth and a constant undercurrent of violence. Violence was a language he understood and employed with chilling efficiency. He used it to eliminate rivals and enforce his dominance. The escalating body count drew the attention of law enforcement. The more Alpo relied on violence, the more he tightened the noose around his own neck. His story serves as a reminder that a life built on violence is destined to collapse. Alpo Martinez's reign of power was destined to crumble. By the late 1980s, his empire began to unravel. In 1989, he was arrested in Washington, D.C. on multiple drug trafficking charges. The arrest sent shockwaves through the underworld. However, the charges against Alpo weren't limited to drug trafficking. He was also indicted on multiple counts of murder, including the killing of Rich Porter. Faced with a potential death sentence, Alpo made a life-altering decision. He struck a deal with the government, agreeing to testify against former allies. This decision forever tarnished his legacy. Alpo Martinez's decision to turn state's evidence was a Faustian bargain. His cooperation provided valuable insights into the drug trade. Life in witness protection was far from a walk in the park. Stripped of his former identity, Alpo was given a new life in an undisclosed location. He traded the lavish excess of his former life for anonymity and isolation. Despite the challenges, Alpo adapted to his new reality. He clung to the hope that one day, he might reclaim some semblance of a normal life. His story is a reminder of the high cost of betrayal. Alpo Martinez's decision to cooperate with the government sent shockwaves through the streets. His testimony implicated former friends, associates, and rivals. It was a betrayal of epic proportions, cementing his reputation as a snitch. His testimony provided a rare glimpse into the inner workings of the drug trade. Prosecutors used his knowledge to secure convictions against notorious figures. The fallout from Alpo's testimony was swift and brutal. His actions ignited a debate about the use of informants in criminal cases. After over 2 decades in the shadows, Alpo Martinez was granted a semblance of freedom in 2015. His release marked a new chapter, fraught with uncertainty and fear. Upon his release, Alpo returned to a world vastly different from the one he left behind. Despite the passage of time, Alpo's notoriety followed him like a shadow. He was a ghost from a bygone era, a living reminder of a dark chapter in history. The challenge of rebuilding his life was immense. Alpo walked a tightrope, trying to reconcile his past with the hope of a future. In 2015, Alpo Martinez made a fateful decision to return to Harlem. The Harlem he returned to was a different world from the one he left behind. Gentrification had reshaped the landscape. Despite the changes, Alpo's presence didn't go unnoticed. Word spread quickly. igniting speculation and fear. Some viewed his return as an act of defiance. Others saw it as an opportunity for retribution. On October 31, 2021, Alpo Martinez was gunned down in a drive-by shooting. His return to Harlem ended in tragedy. The life and death of Alpo Martinez serve as a cautionary tale. His story continues to captivate and horrify, a testament to the dark side of the American dream. Alpo's legacy is complex and contradictory. He was both a ruthless criminal and a shrewd businessman. His impact on the drug trade is difficult to quantify. His story offers a glimpse into the human cost of the drug war. Alpo Martinez's story is a reminder that the allure of the fast life comes with a hefty price. His life continues to resonate, a cautionary tale whispered on the streets he once ruled.